morning, good evening, good afternoon. May Jesus Christ bless you. Where are we at here? Let me see. 19th or the 20th of December 2022. And I would like you to be aware of this one now. So I just got a pretty heavy satanic attack. Massive. And it's always to do with freight and post. It's obviously how they've got their grubber little way of trying to snivel their way into your life. But what I find bizarre is the amount of protection I place upon my post. Obviously it was a test from God Almighty himself to see how it would pan out. Anyway, so I had a freight company say that they wouldn't deliver a certain post, and they are located down on the coast, and we're up here, and I don't know why with 60,000 people, 60,000 people that are over 45 minutes away, they are located on the coast. I just don't understand it, and it's not just one, it's the whole freight system. So up here in the Highlands, we're caught in a situation where, like myself, because I'm not home all the time because I run a couple of properties, I can't get stuff delivered to my house. Even when I'm home, I can't really get stuff delivered there because of the nature of where I live, and can't really have anyone enter the property. So with that, I have what's called a suite. And the suite, there is a criteria. It's like certain height, certain weight, anything beneath that, it just turns up, no problem at all. Nonetheless, so this is how grubby, the satanic forces are. They try to get you with your freight, with the freight companies. This is how grubby they are. And I got attacked pretty heavily this morning, but I dealt with it very quickly, very professionally, and it's done now. But it was to the point where not only were they trying to argue irrelevant points, where I was like, well, hang on, no, that's just not the case. The phones kept cutting out as well. It was like it was all on because they didn't want me getting this package that I've got coming. Alright? So, half the problem you've got is these call centre people. They're foreigners and they don't understand proper English. But not only do they not understand proper English, they want to speak very quickly at you, and they want to act as if somehow you have to understand them. So the problem you've got, with myself, where I'm very precise with how I speak, and I understand very clearly the legalities of everything that I'm dealing with, it causes a situation for them because their pride gets put out very quickly when you're just stating legal facts, and they find themselves backed into a corner where they're arguing null void causes. And I don't argue. I state facts because I need to get what I'm after, because they're acting as stumbling blocks. They're holding onto my freight. So if I don't get the answer that I'm after, especially if they're a foreigner, it's not because I'm racist, but I will ask to speak to the manager or supervisor. And they sure as shit want to speak English, right? Anyway, so I just can't believe it. It's like they were little pawns, little minions, put in there on the phone to try and back a cause up that had no validity. And I had to keep explaining the validity until they finally sat down and listened to what I was saying and then put it in the system, and they were like, oh shit, you have a legal right to do this. And I was like, yes. And then obviously all the bullshit that happened before that, prior to that, that leaves them in a situation now because of the manner in which I had to put up with my treatment. Now, that is what it is. But I just want to speak to you now about how I had to deal with this with Jesus Christ. I sent this matter to the courts of heaven itself. And literally, I was like, this is my freight. And because it is my freight, I literally want a legion of angels on top of this. I want Jesus Christ to intercede himself. I want the courts of heaven involved in this one here because it is my freight. And God is now in charge of this. That's literally the prayer that I had to instill in regards to this for what you would call third time lucky, where I had to call them up once more, and once God got involved, everything was smooth. See, freight is one of the worst places on earth for satanic attacks. You want to get really good at praying for your freight, for your post. Yeah? It surprises me the fact that I went under such a heavy attack this morning, considering I have such a heavy protection on my freight anyway. Nonetheless, it is what it is. It got dealt with. But if you find your freight is under attack, if you find you are dealing with argumentative human beings, if you find that this is the case, hang the phone up and use your authority in Jesus Christ's name. Bind all the satanic entities. Call Jesus Christ in to take full authority over the situation. Call Archangel Michael and his legions of warring angels to come on in to actually step in regards to the situation. And you want the full clout of the heavens itself to work on your behalf to ensure that the spiritual battle that's taking place in regards to you receiving a simple package doesn't ruin your day. Anyway, could I have been prepared before it? Look, always hindsight. There's always a way that there could have been preparation. Just obviously there's something coming sooner rather than later, and the attacks have heightened to just levels that are almost beyond imagine at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the potency of what we are using for prayer is just about not working at the moment. Anyway, which just means, we're under attack, we're under warfare, and it means we have to go a little bit harder, and it is what it is. And it's a shame because, fire with fire, what is it? No. If you don't put up the boundaries, if you don't put up the walls, if you don't keep them away, if you don't do what it is you've got to do, their entire job is to smolder you, put out your fire, and take you out. I'm still suffering the ramifications now, over an hour later, of what I just had to go through. And obviously, this shouldn't have been a victory because, it's not that big for me. I could have got what I was after at a shop locally. It's just I found a special deal elsewhere. But this is what the satanic world's all about. They hate you getting deals. And so they've got their nose in your business. You know what I mean? So, just make sure after you get your victories, even though you don't need them, but you just make sure that once you've done it, you definitely want to bind up all those entities that have just come against you and cast them into the abyss. You want to get rid of them. There is only one lesson, hey. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with you. That's the only lesson. If I wasn't messed with, it wouldn't be a problem. I don't want to be messed with. I just want to be left alone to get on with my day. Yeah. It's a shame that we have such power in Jesus Christ's name because it causes a lot of problems for the satanic world. But this is what happens when we follow Christ. And you can't be afraid to use it. You need to hammer them, and hammer them, and hammer them, and hammer them. None of this timid walking around trying to be, how I would say, camouflaged. You're a bright light on a hill. You're not camouflaged. It doesn't matter what you've got to say, you're not camouflaged. So with that, boundaries. Always boundaries. And don't enter the boundary. It is what it is. Anyway, so back to it. Freight is a definite hotspot for satanic action, and I've had a lot of heartache in regards to this. It's put a rift with my package collection where I get it regularly. It's a concern in general, where the long and short of it is, if I'm to get involved with it on a proper level, a lot of people will lose their jobs, and that won't be my problem. I'm trying to save their jobs. Anyway, so that's why I put up with it, because they need the money and they need the roof over their head. Alright. Have a good day. Jesus Christ loves you. Bye for now.